Are you ready to uncover the most sinister Peppa Pig theories? I know it looks like a cute cartoon at first glance, but there's a lot of macabre stuff hidden underneath. What if Evie Pig wasn't unique? There's a bizarre theory saying she has a twin sister, and worse, an evil twin. And the strangest part? She may have already appeared officially, but almost no one noticed. In an official image from the Floor is Lava episode, Evie appears with the heart-shaped mark on the wrong side of her face. Could it be just another animation error? Or could it be a clue to something dark? This is exactly the kind of detail that once gave rise to the evil Peppa theory. Now, it seems history is repeating itself, only this time with the baby of the family. It's that kind of screenshot you glance at quickly and think, wait, wasn't it different before? But then comes the question that makes everything even stranger. Why would Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig hide the existence of a daughter? The Gerald Giraffe episode might give us a clue. At Madame Gazelle's school, several children study alongside older siblings. George, Edmund Elephant, and Richard Rabbit are much younger, and yet they're there. So why don't some families appear complete? Where are Zoe Zebra's younger sisters, who are exactly the same age as them? Apparently, the school doesn't allow 3 children from the same family at the same time, and that would explain why a possible twin sister of Evie would be off-screen, hidden from the beginning, just waiting for the right moment to strike. If someone grows up hidden, erased, and treated like a secret, what could that turn into in the future? Maybe that's why this never-seen twin has everything it takes to become the darkest version of the story. And if that's true, this would be far from the most disturbing theory involving babies in Peppa Pig. You can already tell this video is going to be pretty heavy, right? So grab the popcorn, because another zigzag has just begun. Have you ever noticed that Aunt Dottie, who is Mummy Pig's sister, might be in love with Daddy Pig?
What?
Yeah, it sounds absurd, but when you put the clues together, it starts to feel strangely convincing. To begin with, Daddy Pig and Dottie are not strangers to each other. Quite the opposite. They've known each other since childhood and were very close. So close that Daddy Pig still keeps an old photo of the two of them in his office to this day. And no, that photo isn't of Peppa or George. It's black and white. And we already know the show does that when it wants to show an old photo. And the little pig wearing a dress has the exact same polka dots as Dottie's classic look. It's that old, slightly yellowed photo that you look at and think, wait, there's a story there. In the time capsule episode, this theory gets even stronger. When a video from the past appears, you can clearly see that Mummy Pig's dress was full of flowers. And the same thing happens in the Star episode, when she's shown at school. In other words, the little pig next to Daddy Pig in that old photo can only be Dottie. And then comes the really strange part. In the Thanksgiving episode, the aunt insists on going to the supermarket with Daddy Pig instead of staying with her own sister. Remember, they live far away and almost never see each other. Even so, Dottie doesn't choose to spend time with Mummy Pig. She chooses to stay with her husband. So here's the question no one has ever asked out loud. What if Aunt Dottie has always been in love with Daddy Pig? Could that be the real reason she almost never visits her sister? But this still isn't the darkest secret from the Pig family's past, because Grandpa Pig has something he's going to take with him to the grave. Everyone thinks they know who Grandpa Pig was in the past. A sailor, easygoing, retired, right? What if I told you that version might be more like the official story and not the real one? Because the more you look at Grandpa Pig, the less he seems like an ordinary guy. He doesn't act like an ex-Navy man. He behaves like someone who once lived outside the law and knows exactly what to hide. And you know how it goes. Too much coincidence starts turning into a pattern. It's that cliche, the sweet little grandpa, but with the look of someone who pulled off something big in the past. Let's get to the clues. First, the suspicious connection with the pirate Redbeard. In the episode The Festival, images show the pirate's treasure right next to Polly, a face directly tied to Grandpa Pig's family, since she is literally Grandpa Pig's parrot. Then comes the detail that makes absolutely no sense. There's a painting of a guitar that should be in the town museum. In George's birthday episode, it's right there, nicely displayed on the exhibition wall. Later on, it shows up hanging on the wall of Grandpa Pig's house. How did that get there? And if that wasn't enough, look at Granny Pig. Her hat looks way too much like that of a certain shouting pirate who's known for wearing a straw hat. And the final blow? Grandpa Pig's boat doesn't fly a naval flag. It raises a pirate flag. Seriously, we said he was trying to hide, but this here is way too bold. Everything points to an uncomfortable conclusion. Grandpa Pig was not a simple sailor. He may have been a pirate who retired, or someone who's still running from his past. But if that's true, how many other Peppa Pig characters are also hiding crimes? Type the hashtag secret with your guess. And speaking of secrets, there's a very uncomfortable theory circulating among attentive Peppa Pig fans, and it involves cheating, more specifically, Mrs. Cat. It all starts in an apparently innocent episode. The Pig family goes out to celebrate Grandpa Pig's birthday at a fancy restaurant. Party vibes, family together, until the camera shows something that doesn't match that mood. A candlelit table, a romantic dinner, and Mrs. Cat sitting there, facing a cat who is definitely not her husband. Before anyone thinks, oh, it must be a mix-up, let's clear things up. Mr. Cat, Candy's father, is the orange cat. He's the same one who got stuck in a tree in that police car episode. But at the restaurant, the cat next to Mrs. Cat is a different one. Different fur color, different look, a different cat. And then comes the strangest detail of all. The show changes Mr. Cat's fur color several times throughout the episodes. Not once, several times. Which raises an uncomfortable question. Is this a mistake or an attempt to hide something? Maybe Mrs. Cat was just having dinner with a friend. Or maybe Peppa Pig accidentally let a case of feline cuckoldry slip right in the middle of a kids episode. We don't know the answer, but when a cartoon starts changing characters' appearances to confuse the audience, it's because there's something there they don't want you to notice. Just like you didn't notice what comes next. In the episode where Peppa visits the United States, Mrs. Rabbit from New York drops a line that goes unnoticed. She says that in every city in the world, there is at least one Mrs. Rabbit. Now stop and think. That's not normal. That's scary. One single character already works too much. Now imagine thousands, all identical, with the same voice, the same face, and controlling practically every possible business. That stops being coincidence and starts to look like a system. It's like walking into a new city and running into the same person everywhere. The most accepted theory is simple and disturbing. All the Mrs. Rabbits would be clones. Clones of Mrs. Rabbit, Rebecca's mother. And yes, there's an important detail. The Mrs. Rabbit that Peppa knows has an identical twin sister. She is married to Mr. Rabbit, has 4 children, is Grandpa Rabbit's daughter, but almost never appears. In other words, Mrs. Rabbit and Mrs. Rabbit would be identical twins. But then why is only one of them multiplied all over the world? The answer points straight to Grandpa Rabbit. He is known as a brilliant inventor, and many fans believe that he cloned one of his daughters thousands of times to create an infinite workforce. Rabbits that never stop, never complain, never rest. And that's how the Rabbit family controls practically everything. It's strange, it's creepy, it's disturbing. But the more you think about it, the more sense it makes. But if this is true, how many other normal professions in Peppa Pig hide experiments, secrets, or things that should never have been created? We're about to tell you one now that will ruin your appetite. But before that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because you won't get another golden chance like this. Let's start with a simple question, one that ruins everything once you think about it. In the world of Peppa Pig, there is milk, there is cheese, but all the characters are animals who talk, work, and live like humans. So, where does the milk come from? Because we're not talking about a cartoon with normal little farms. Mrs. Cow walks around, talks, goes to parties, has a family, and at the same time, milk continues to exist as a common product. When you put those two things together, the logic starts to get really uncomfortable. The theory is simple and gross. Could the milk come from Mrs. Cow herself and from other characters like her? If that's the case, everyone there is consuming something that comes directly from a neighbor. And then comes the honest question. Would you have the courage to drink milk in the Peppa universe after thinking about that? I think I would never touch a hamburger again after learning something like this. And you?